Hi everybody, this is the video I promised you, just going through some of the kind of startup basic Photoshop work that we did over the last couple of days. Now I know a few people were missing and then some people couldn't install the software at home, which is very important that you do, but I'm just going to go over a couple of things. I'm just going to redo a couple of the steps that I covered over the last few days. Okay, so I've opened Photoshop here. I have a variety of files that I've worked on over the past. You might have different ones, but we're going to click on New, and we're going to go up to Print because we want an A4 leaflet. And we're going to click on A4, and we're going to click on Create. Okay, so there it is. Now, a few people kept kind of making the same mistake, that what they used to do was they'd bring in a folder with some bulbs in it, and they would, or with some images, and they would just drop them straight into Photoshop, like so. Okay, and they think it's okay, and then they wonder why they can't cut them out. Now, I've said this a number of times. When you drop something into Photoshop, and it comes in with that X on it, it tends to have some strange properties. Now, generally speaking, they're called smart objects, right? And by default, we don't use them, right? Because they're not one of the things that's assessed on the course. So, with some people struggling with some of the tools that we're using at the moment, I cannot get into things that aren't even on the course because it's unfair, right? So, really the priority is to teach people the things that they need to know so that they can do those and not do anything else, right? So they can learn them at a later stage if they want, or if there's time at the end of the course, but smart objects aren't something that has to be assessed. And what I need you to do is just follow the instructions. So I have a folder here, and I'll show it to you now, and it's called Resources, right? Now it's actually on my 2 terabyte memory stick. Watch this. I have a 2 terabyte drive, and I've got a folder called Image Processing. Now you should have a drive with a folder for each of your subjects, and inside a folder for each of your assessments. Now I've got one here for Bulb Mailshot, I've got one for Composite Room, and I have one for Learner Record. These two are empty. I just made them to show you. But I'm going to Bulb Mailshot and Resources, and there are the images. But I don't drag them in. I'm going to throw this off. So as I demonstrated in class quite a number of times, from inside Photoshop you go File and Open. And then you navigate to where your folder is. So there, click on 2 terabyte, click on Image Processing, Bulb Mailshot, Resources. And I'm just going to drag, or just click on one. Oh, hang on, let's bring the window over. I can either double click it, like so, and it will open up in its new tab. Here it is up here, right? Or I'm going to open another one, File, Open. It defaults to the last thing I opened something from, so it defaults to my folder. I click on the second one and click Open. That works exactly the same way, and here it is here, right? So, again, the thing to do is drag it down, hover the mouse over the name of the tab, drag it down. Again, I've got 2 of them there, and just click in the middle of the picture, drag it in, close the original, click in the middle of the picture, drag it in, and close the original. Okay, now I'm going to do these 2 bulbs using the magic wand. I'm going to bring in one more image, so I go File and Open. And I'm going to bring in this picture here of the bulb on the page because we're going to use the polygon tool. So I drag it down and I drag it in. Okay. Now, because these 2 bulbs here have a white box around them, you don't really see it on a white page unless they're in front of something else. So if I move this one, you'll see it's actually behind that. Hang on a second. If I move it in front, you'll see there's clearly a white box on it. Now, to combat that, there's a number of things we can do. Really what we have to do is just take the white look off it. We could flood it with color, but the best thing to do is this, right? We open the actual Mailshot that we're supposed to be mimicking. And there it is. Sorry, not in that folder. It's in the folder I gave you. So hang in there for 1 second. Now, by the magic of time dilation, it's in the folder now. So I go Open. And there it is. Okay, so I go Open, and again it comes in its own tab. I drag it down, I drag it in. Okay, now it's in full opacity at the moment, which means you can see every little bit of it. And what we want to do is we want to hide it at the back of the image. We're going to throw it to the back. We know the back is actually the bottom of the layer panel, and then we're going to make it mostly transparent so it's just visible enough to be seen. So I click and drag it here. and it goes to the back. But it's going to be in the way of us cutting things out. We just want to be able to barely see it. So as a guide for how we're going to lay out our bulbs. So I go up to opacity and I drag it down. And it's a little slow to react, but you can see as I drag it down, it becomes more and more faint and barely visible on the white background. But that would kind of do it just there. We can see that there's a white background on the bulbs. It's fine. Now, there's a chance that we might accidentally drag that. So what I do is I'm going to select the layer and hit the little lock symbol. And now I can't physically drag it. I'm getting an error message there saying could not use the move tool because the layer is locked. And that's exactly what I want. Now, okay, so I have this bulb here. Now, as I was saying to a few people, you're better off not using the auto select feature for when you have an awful lot of images on the page and you accidentally click on the wrong ones. The best way to select a layer is to right click and choose whatever is at the layer of the context menu. So I know for a fact that directly under my mouse is layer 1, that's this bulb here. And then there's layer 4 and then there's the background. Now layer 4 is the bulb Mailshot layer. There it is there. Okay. So just to show you how that works, if I click on the bulb, like so, and I bring that bulb over here underneath this one. Okay, now don't forget this is layer 1, right? And then I right click on this one. You'll see it says layer 2, layer 1, layer 4 background. So layer 2 is the one closest to the mouse pointer. We know layer 1 I just slipped in behind. Layer 4 is the Mailshot, and then the layer that says background is just a blank background layer, which is also locked. So the best way to select them is right click, select the one at the top, and you have it. Right click, select the one at the top and you have it. Right click, select the one at the top. Okay, that's the best way. Now, we're going to go over here to our palette. We're going to cut these ones out. So I'm going to select layer 2, this one here. I'm going to go over to the magic wand. Now, by default, the magic wand will probably look like this. Sorry, the position for it. It's the object selection tool. What you do is you press and hold. You go on over and you go on down and select magic wand. And then it will stay like that until you change it. You don't always need to do that. I click into the outside of this bulb. It's only selecting the white because it's set very lightly. Or actually, it's set at 50. Let's do that again just in case. So as we said before, the magic wand has a tolerance. And the way it works briefly is that if you have this set for 1, it will have a tolerance of 1 pixel different than the color tone of the pixel you chose. So if the entire area is all one shade of white, it will select all of it. If some of it is a shade darker, it won't select that area. As soon as it gets to a pixel that's more than 1 shade different than it will stop. Right? So I'm going to just explain that to you by showing you with me clicking on this actual bulb. So as you can see, if I click in the white area, it's selecting everything. Look what happens when I click into the bulb. Tiny, tiny, tiny little selection is made because there's too much variation in color. So let's step the tolerance up to 100 and try it. Now it selects a lot more, but it's very messy. If I was to hit delete on that, it's not good. The magic wand is better for areas of very similar or all one color. You can use it for variations of color, but if they're too extreme, you're going to be playing around with it forever. Even if I was to set this at 200 and the limit is 255, you see it's actually not getting past. Well, it's getting out into the white area, but the fact that there's lines here, if I was to press delete on that, look, there's bits left. So the magic wand has its uses and it's really good at them, but you can't do everything. I'm going to bring it back down, just put it at 5. I click into the white area. It's gone. And I go select and deselect. I'm going to go over back to the move tool. I'm going to go over to the other bulb, layer 1. I click on the magic wand. I click in the white area. I press delete. And I go select and deselect. So that was really easy. Those two are actually quite easy to remove because the magic wand does it in a single click. Now, this one is slightly different. We have to use the polygon tool. Now by default this will probably say lasso. Just look over here. Press and hold. Go on down to the center one. We talked about the magnetic lasso, mostly useless. Lasso tool, mostly useless. Polygon tool, actually quite useful. Because this allows us, it basically works like a scissors in the real world. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to trace the bulb like so. Just click, move, click, move. Now I'm not going to put a huge amount of time into this. I have a limit of 15 minutes on this video because it's a freebie thing and I'm already at 9 minutes and 48 seconds. So what I do with this is I try and click around to where I think the edge of the bulb is. Mostly it's straightforward and quite obvious where it is, but where there's a shadow, and the light is passing through the bulb, it becomes quite difficult to see. It's on the other side, it's over here. It becomes quite difficult to see what's glass and what's actual shadow. But if you zoom in a bit more, and you take your time, you don't accidentally double click in case you have to start all over again, it'll be fine. Don't forget, this is just for practice. This is an exercise. It's not assessed. But the tricks you learn by doing this are going to help you to walk through some of your other assessments that are coming. So this is well worth your time in doing. Click around, click around, click around, get to the end. Now, when I get near back to my starting point, you'll see the cursor changes from a kind of a crosshair to whatever shape that is, with a little loop on it. And that loop means I'm going to complete the selection loop. So I click once, and it's selected. Now, I know I did this in class. With the magic wand, I clicked in the white area, and I deleted the white area. But because with this one, I'm drawing a loop around the thing I want, my selection isn't the outside, as it is by clicking in the white area. My selection is the inside. So if I press delete, we're on the wrong layer. Glad I worked that one out. If I press delete, it deletes my bulb. We don't want that. What we want to do is select everything but the bulb, or as they call it, the inverse. So we go select, inverse, and there you'll see the dotted line actually goes all the way to the edge of the actual page. And all we're interested in is that it's not going to take away the bulb. So now when I press delete, it's gone. And I go select and deselect. Okay. So if I wanted, and let me zoom out a bit. If I wanted to position this where it is on the Mailshot, I go edit, transform and rotate, and it allows me to twist it like so. Now it's actually a little bit smaller than it should be, so I can go edit. Now, normally you never enlarge an image in Photoshop because it just destroys it. But for what we're doing, this is more than sufficient. Okay, so that one is in place. I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to go up to these. I think this one here goes over here. I have to rotate it. Edit, transform, rotate, spin it around, put it into position. Done. Click on this one, select the layer, edit, transform, rotate, spin it around. And again, so at the moment, look, I'm missing the one in the center and the one on each side here. But if it turns out that the one I bring in isn't in the right position, this one here obviously is layer 2. This one here is layer 1. So it's 2 and 1. If I wanted to move this one behind this one, I drag layer 1 and put it above layer 2. If I wanted to move layer 2 in front of, if I wanted to do it the other way around, I can drag layer 2 and bring it up over layer 1. There you go. So when I have 4 or 5 of these in place, I can play around with the, I'll just rotate that a bit. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, okay. I can play around with the layer order and the scale to get it right. Okay. Now, that covers, you don't really need any more skills than that to do the Mailshot. Some of them don't have a background. Some of them are removed with the magic wand. Some of them are removed using the polygon tool that I use to cut out this bulb here. And then after that, it's edit, transform, and rotate to spin them around, or edit, transform, and scale to increase or decrease the size. And really after that, it's just a matter of matching them up by eye. Okay, so you can just drag them up and down. You can name these layers if you want. So for example, this one here, I'll just hide it. It's the one on the left. It's multicolor. So I'm just going to double click on it and type in the word multicolor. Now you don't need any more than that. It's a geotam bulb, but nobody cares. This one here is red and blue. So I can call this red and blue. So if you end up with a load of layers, as you may, you might want to name them just to make it easier. So that's it on this. If you can do those few things, use the magic wand tool and use the polygon tool, drag things up and down layers, and then rotate and change the scale on things, you can do the entire Mailshot bulb from that. It's just a matter of making sure that you have it all in place. Do not forget to save it into the same folder that you have your resources. So again, it would be File, Save As, and then just go to where it is. Okay? Now, I'm going to post this. I'll do another couple of these as we go. I might do one in the room. But if you have any questions, send me an email and let me know. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys.